And today's Tuesday, January 17, 2023. I call this regular meeting to order at 6:33 p.m. Pledge of Allegiance led by the Mayor Ding. Please rise and put out your hand for your right heart. Face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Ding,
Here.
Vice Mayor Harrington,
Here.
Councilmember Chan,
Here.
Councilmember Menchaca. Here. Councilmember Wu.
Here.
Okay. Closing section report. Our city attorney will now give the closing section report from the special meeting held on early tonight.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, council members. Council considered one item in closed session tonight, and that was conference with the real property negotiators pertaining to 405 South Del Mar. No reportable actions were taken by the council in closed session. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now have some announcement from our chief city clerk.
Tonight's meeting is live streamed on Cable Channel 3 and our online platforms. If you wish to address the City Council during tonight's meeting, we request that you please complete a speaker's card and hand it to the clerk. When speaking, please state your name for the record. If you wish to be added to the distribution list to receive City Council agendas, please email your request to cityclerk@sgch.org.
First item, approve agenda order. Is there any objection to the agenda order? I hear one. The agenda order is approved. Next item, please.
We have no presentations this evening, which brings us to public comment. This is the time set aside for members of the public to address the City Council on items of interest that are not on the agenda but are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the San Gabriel City Council. If you wish to address the council, please fill out a speaker's card and hand it to the clerk. Our first speaker this evening is Adela Angeli.
Good evening and thank you. My name is Adela Anjoli and I proudly serve as the Executive Director of the San Gabriel Educational Foundation, better known as SEF. The San Gabriel Educational Foundation is a nonprofit charitable organization founded in 1986 to provide funding support to serve the San Gabriel Unified School District. Since its inception in 1986, we have donated over $1 million in financial support for programs, events, and projects that have district-wide impact, serving over 4,600 students on all 8 public school campuses annually. A really fun fact is over $500,000 of that funding has been within the last 9 years alone. SEF strongly believes that all of us must place an even greater importance on collaborative efforts and impact within the community that not only leads to success for the foundation, but also for the parent and community organizations that already do so much, and especially for the people that we serve. In our case, the students, the teachers, the stakeholders, the schools. With respect to this belief, I'd like to start by thanking the City of San Gabriel for your commitment towards the success of our organization, specifically our community-wide district literacy and arts exhibition. For the current academic year, SEF has hosted a district-wide literary and arts exhibition. We've invited all students to participate by reading a book, reimagining its book cover, and then submitting a piece of art to be included in a celebratory event that's being held on Thursday, February 9th at the San Gabriel Hilton Hotel. Excitedly, from all of the submissions, 30 pieces of art have been chosen to be developed into pole banners, and they'll be hung in the beautiful Mission District. For this, we're eternally grateful to you as the city for partnering with us to do that. SEF fully understands that the opportunities must be available for the community to support excellence in education. Adequate resources are required for us to be successful in delivery of these types of programs and events. And for this reason, I would like to personally thank Councilwoman Denise Menchaca and Councilman John Wu for your personal investment in this year's program. We are incredibly grateful to the both of you. I'd also like to invite everyone here this evening, and those of you that might be listening tonight, to learn more about our organization and specifically the opportunity to sponsor this event. You can visit our website at cef48schools.org or reach out to me directly. In closing, I'd like to thank you for supporting our vision and sharing in our vision. I'd like to thank you for your support. I'd like to thank you for making our community a better place to live and work. And specifically, I'd like to thank you for making a difference in the lives of our youth.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Helen Romero Shaw.
So, good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Manager, City Staff. I'm Helen Romero Shaw, Public Affairs Manager for Southern California Gas Company, and I'm here to talk about the high gas bills. I'm sure you've been noticing, you've been getting your gas bill, or you've heard from your constituents, and I wanted to reach out and see if anybody had any questions. We're doing this outreach because we want our customers to know why the bills are very high. Okay, first of all, SoCalGas purchases the gas on behalf of the residents and the small businesses. We buy this gas from domestic sources primarily, but also from Canada. And so we do not set the price. We don't set the rate for natural gas. We buy it, and we have to pass along whatever the cost is for that natural gas. We don't mark it up, we don't make a profit on it, and we are regulated by the California Public Utility Commission, so they keep track of everything we do, all our budgets. But on the other hand, this is an impact on our customers, especially those that are income stressed or are on budgets. And so we want to remind them that there are programs, the customer assistance programs, and I brought some brochures that I'm going to leave with you. And I also have my business cards in here because I know there's a new councilman here, Councilman Chan. I haven't met him, but I know pretty much the rest of you. So I have business cards, and in case you need to contact me for more information. So let me explain the reasons for this big spike and how much, oh my goodness, I'm out of time. It's very cold weather in the western United States. Everybody is using their heat, so there's a big demand, and there's reduced supplies from our suppliers, and there's reduced interstate pipeline capacity, especially in Texas. There's a pipeline there that hasn't been repaired, so that's slowing delivery of natural gas, and low storage levels. Before, we were able to buy natural gas during the summer when it was less expensive and store it. We have storage fields. We've had a lot of restrictions on doing that. So overall, it's made a big impact. As I said, there's customer assistance programs. I hope that the customers, your residents, have the ability to contact us. I'll give this over to the city clerk. And if you have any questions, oh, my business cards are in there if you want to pass them around. Okay. Okay. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Chastity Jennings Nunez.
Good evening, everyone. Just a few things for tonight. So first, congratulations to the City Council, probably specifically to previous City Councils. I noticed that the Mission Playhouse parking lot is being repaved. That's going to be a huge win, a huge benefit for our city, so I do want to recognize the City Council for undertaking that task. The second thing that I wanted to do is just to, again, emphasize as the previous president of the San Gabriel Educational Foundation, the invitation that was provided tonight from the executive director, and hope to see members of our city council out in supporting the literacy and art event on February 9th. CEF is a huge part of our city, has been for a long time in terms of supporting education for our students. And then finally, this is concerning our consent calendar item number H, which is the application for proclamations and certificates. I wholeheartedly support that, that item, but I will say that I am an above average user of the website and very familiar with it, and it took me at least 5 minutes to find the form. So I don't know if we are complete with designing the web page, but there currently is no web page as described in the agenda item. There's a form that's buried in the form center. Even if I Google application for recognition, it was like the 5th item down, and it doesn't contain all of that information in terms of the current proclamations that are recognized. So again, I do wholeheartedly support that initiative, but would ask that you make that form easier to find for the average user. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no more cards. Is anyone else wishing to address council?
Next item, please.
Consent calendar. All items listed under the consent calendar are considered routine, and recommendations will be approved in one motion unless a member of the city council or public requests separate discussion. We have not received requests from the public to pull any items.
Would any council member like to pull any item for separate discussion? Okay. Do I have a motion for this item?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Councilmember Menchaca and second by Councilmember Chan. Please vote.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Next item, please.
Public hearing, fiscal year 2023-2024 Community Development Block Grant Programs, Budget and Allocation, Resolution number 23-06.
Now, I now open the public hearing. The staff representation will be made by Economic Development Manager Caroline Ballard.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. Before you this evening is a Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, program plan and budget for fiscal year 2023-2024. As you may know, the city receives the federal CDBG administered by the Los Angeles County Development Authority. The funds must be used to meet national objectives to develop viable communities and serve low to moderate income populations. There's also a 20% cap of funds used for public services. Examples of public service programs include childcare, recreation programs, public safety services, and senior services. As part of the CDBG program, the city must annually approve the budget plan and programs for the upcoming fiscal year. So on this slide is the current year's allocation, the proposed 23-24 allocation, and a budget change, the proposed budget change, which represents an approximately 2% decrease. You'll see that the biggest change is in the street improvement project, and that's because the current year's allocation includes a carryover from 21-22, an additional request of funding that was approved at the November 15th, 2022 City Council meeting. So with CDBG, the city funds 4 programs: code enforcement, youth services, which includes programming for students in the San Gabriel Unified School District. The street improvement project ran by Public Works. Listed there are the streets that we worked on for various improvements, including slurry seals, new asphalt, and paving, and the graffiti removal program implemented by our Neighborhood Improvement Services staff. As in previous years, the city may receive an additional allocation of funds from Los Angeles County First District Supervisor. The current allocation is $20,630 for the city's after-school program. The Board of Supervisors is expected to announce this amount in the spring. This map shows the city's eligible service areas with low to moderate income levels that qualify under CDBG. So all of our programs that we implement serve this target area. Staff recommends that Resolution 2306 be adopted, authorizing the allocation of funds for 23-24 activities and projects that I had just described. That any CDBG funds unspent at the close of 22-23 be carried over, and recognize the receipt of 23-24 funds in the city's 23-24 budget. Recognize the receipt of an estimated $20,630 of funds from the supervisor's office if funds are approved. Allocate any 23-24 funds in excess of the estimated amounts discussed this evening towards the programs that were described. And finally, authorize the city manager to execute new contracts with LACTA for the allocation of the upcoming fiscal year program and adjust as necessary to reflect the actual allocation of funds to the city. This includes my report and presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Does any council member have the technical and factual question for staff to clarify the report? Okay, here then, Chief City Clerk, do we have any public comments? So I now close the public hearing. It's now time for the council deliberation and the discussion. Who would like to start it?
I don't have any questions. I'm ready to move.
So motion has been made
Well,
by,
Yeah, I'll move to approve all the recommended actions, because there's 5 of them.
motion has been made by Councilmember Menchaca.
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Wu. Please vote.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Next item, please.
We have no continued business this evening. New business item A, discussion on another round of the Small Business Assistance Program. Economic Development Manager Caroline Velarde will make the presentation.
Hello again. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. Before you this evening is a discussion on another potential small business assistance program. And before we dive into the discussion, I wanted to provide you with a context and some background of the previous programs. If you can recall, the city over the past 2 years has implemented 2 successful business assistance programs in 2021 and 2022. The most recent program last year resulted in 58 small businesses being awarded grants of $2,500 each. Both of these programs utilized ARPA funding, had a budget of $175,000, and had the purpose of improving business operations. And so given the success and popularity of these previous programs, council directed staff to develop another potential one. And in doing so, staff had considered several options. Number one, it could be more broad, allowing for more businesses to apply, removing the employee count, for example. It could also incorporate an ADA component that would help fund ADA improvements. And as staff considered this, a couple issues did come up. For example, we could possibly expose businesses that are not fully ADA compliant. The grant amount could be insufficient for significant improvements unless, of course, the program limited the number of businesses so that funding per business could increase. So staff certainly could develop a program with an ADA component, but certainly those issues would need to be worked out to ensure it's beneficial for our businesses. Staff recommends that another round of SBA program be implemented, given the success of the previous ones and the needs of our business community. It is recommended that the potential program be broad in scope, allowing more businesses to apply, and with a program budget of $175,000 and grants of $2,500 each. These are amounts that staff is comfortable, having worked with them before and successfully implemented previous programs. And as mentioned, an ADA component could be incorporated. If council chooses to include ADA, staff would develop the specific parameters with a possible recommendation to increase the grant amount. And any future programming would be returned to council at a future meeting date and will include the resolution appropriating funds as well as the guidelines and application. As far as a timeline, after this evening's discussion, staff will develop a program per council's direction. Next month, the plan is to present the budget, guidelines, and application at a council meeting in February. Anticipating council approval, we will then promote the program for a 6-week period, and by the end of March, staff will launch the program. And applications will be open for a 3-week period, after which we will review and notify the applicants. That concludes my report and presentation. If there are any questions, I may answer them at this time.
Does any council member have the factual question for staff to clarify the report? Okay, Council Member Wu.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. Hi, Caroline. Questions about the CDBG funds program. I remember at the beginning we were set up for 70 business owners to apply. Then we end up with 52 businesses. They got a grant and 2,500 each. So may I know that how many? Can you just refresh a little? That how many that you applications that you have received at the beginning, and with only 52 being granted, is that because we disqualify many of them, or because we have too few people to apply for this grant? Thank you.
The reason how we got to those numbers is because as businesses applied, they didn't meet the qualifications. And similarly, with the second round of the program last year, same issue. Around, instead of 52, though, 58 were approved for the same reasons, that there were just some disqualifiers that made them ineligible.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Harrington.
Thank you, Mayor. Carolyn, how much of the actual ARPA funds are left? I know we received quite a bit from the federal government. What's our balance right now? Do you have an idea, like the total?
If you don't mind, Mayor Ding and Vice Mayor Harrington, I'll answer that, as Caroline hasn't been involved in those discussions to the level that Director Kaholakula and I have. All of those ARPA funds have been used as lost revenue, so all of those ARPA funds are actually in our fund balance right now, our reserves. So there is no ARPA fund balance anymore. It's all been effectively converted over into general fund reserves.
Okay, that was my follow-up, so there's no strings on anything.
There's no strings on anything, as long as we make the finding that this is a benefit to the community through economic development, which we easily can. There's no strings attached, so it can be to pretty much any program that the council desires, but just with the memory or the understanding that every dollar comes out of our reserves.
Yeah, because now it's more, to me, it's just general fund, so we're really funding this out of unrestricted dollars.
100% yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now is the time for the council discussion. Who would like to start it? Oh, sorry, yeah. Chief City Clerk, do we have any public comment?
I have not received any cards for this item, Mayor.
Okay. It's now time for council discussion, and who would like to start it? And Councilmember Menchaca.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'll ask Mark and William, so what can we afford? Because every penny is coming from general fund. We're still, well, we have a budget, and I just would like to see what is the budget showing us. I think there was a page that shows that possibly we may have about $1 million in surplus by the end of the year, possibly. You know, where are our cash reserves going to be? Because our goal is 17%, we've been at 21%, I think. But if you can just kind of give us a real broad response.
Thank you, Councilwoman Menchaca. I'd be happy to. I'm looking to see the item number. It was item number 4E, as an elephant in our earlier consent calendar, and that was the budget update through December 31st. So these are still projections. This is 6 months of data. But as you mentioned, we believe we are scheduled to end our 5th year in a row with a surplus, which I'm very proud of the council and the staff to be able to say that. That's good news. We think we will be about $1 million of a surplus by the end of the year, assuming that all of our revenue projections come true and all of our expenses are within budget, which I have no knowledge right now that our expenses are going to be over. So that's, I think, is a pretty safe projection. So with that $1 million, we are projecting over $17 million at the end of this fiscal year as a fund balance. When you back out the restriction on the public works loan, we're left with about 21% in unrestricted reserves, which is a phenomenal number considering that we were negative just a few years ago. 17% is the minimum that we have in our goal, so 21% is obviously better than that, but I'm also going to be a little bit of a wet blanket and say that we are facing a recession, or whatever you want to call the R word, in the next year or two. We think development will slow down. A lot of our budget is predicated upon, not a lot, but some of our budget is predicated upon building permits and fees, and those will definitely be down in probably this year and in future years. So any dollar you take and allocate towards this great program is a dollar that takes away from our future rainy day funds. With that, I am comfortable telling the council that we can afford the $175,000 that we've done in the past, and that's a number that we can, with the current staffing levels, adequately process and monitor to the community. So that's something that we can recommend, but ultimately it's the council's decision. And then whether you want to do the same funding amount per grant of $2,500, or whether you want to do a fewer number of grants but at a greater amount, that's fully up to the council. But the short answer to your question is we're comfortable with the $175,000 to $200,000 range, knowing, though, with open eyes, that that's pulling from our reserves.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause a year ago, almost a year ago, we had this discussion, and the range was, well, maybe perhaps with the council, the range was from $175,000 to $500,000. And I know we concluded $175,000 was something we felt comfortable, or the majority of us felt comfortable with. I know I'd like to keep the $2,500 because otherwise my understanding is the universe that we would be working with would be the universe of businesses that have not been funded. So if we would change it to anything else, I feel like we're penalizing the first and the second round awardees if we start raising the amount. There are quite a few businesses out there still that are in need. I think we can surpass well, let's just say if we say 175,000, that's 70 grants. I still think, we would be able to fund, if not the full amount, maybe something less than that if we increase the eligibility. But at this time, yeah, I too have a little bit of concern that we just don't know what the future is going to hold, and I'm very protective of our general fund, and so I'm comfortable with 175, but I'd be happy to hear from my colleagues to see if they want to increase that amount. The other thing I was going to suggest is if we are going to have a grant of some sort, that we try to establish a workshop day of sorts, because I know some of the concerns was whether English was your first language or not. The biggest concern is, how do I apply? What do I do? There was something mentioned earlier about the proclamations, and I have to agree with the public comment. I, too, had trouble this morning looking for it. But with these applications, we have a lot of small businesses, whether they speak English or not. It is difficult to fill out the application. So I'd like to see a workshop day of sorts, whether it's virtual, if people don't feel comfortable one-on-one, or in person, But I'd like to give our business owners a little more support than we've been able to give in the past. Doesn't take from our general fund, you know, it would be existing staff, but I'd like to add that somewhere here in the plan. But at this point, with all the uncertainty, I think you mentioned the recession and the housing market, the interest rates going up. I mean, there's a lot in the next 6 months that could take place. And again, we can revisit this again after the budget. I mean, we've done this before. We can revisit it. But at this point, for me, 175,000 or somewhere along those lines, I would not feel comfortable at the 500,000 range, which was proposed last year. But I just wanted to remind everyone that was part of our discussion from last year. Thank you.
Okay, Vice Mayor Harrington.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate the comments from Councilor Menchaca. I have similar, I would say, historical understandings. I was even uncomfortable with the 175. I think from my standpoint, the original idea behind these grants were to help the businesses that were affected by COVID because of regulations that were shutting them down. Those have obviously a lot different state now in 2023 than 2020, 2021, 2022. I don't see as big of a need. There may be general business need because of the economy, but I don't think it's the same reasoning that we had for the initial adoption of this program. If we can afford that type of money, personally, I'd rather see more of a budgetary process than an individual item. And I would like to see, for example, we decide something like participatory budgeting. So we say, residents of San Gabriel, here's how much money we'd like to set aside. What should we do with this money? And have, crowdsource it, say, because they're going to come up, the public will come up with a lot of ideas we don't have. This may be a piece of it, may be a big piece, maybe a little piece. We can come up, I'm sure we'll get lots of involvement if we say we have X number of dollars that we want the public to program for the city, because we feel it's, not just the council that should be doing the budget. We should try and encourage our residents to say, hey, there's this park needs this, or this, whatever it is. Things that maybe staff doesn't even notice, or they may think of a novel program we've never thought of that, is well within that budget. So rather than dedicate it just to small business, which is important because that's a big tax revenue for us, but I think the businesses that have survived through all of this are probably a little more durable, and this would be, to me, more of a, oh, here you go, here's some money, but it's not gonna make, $2,500 is not gonna make and break their business. Hopefully by now we've given it to the smallest, because we had very tight limits. Now, I don't know how many businesses are struggling that 2,500 is the difference between them surviving this year and not. Whereas for some programs, I think the 2,500 or whatever we set for, maybe a program is 25,000, but it does benefit the entire community. I think that might be something that to me gives more benefit to more people than just, these are very focused on one segment of our constituents, which is small business owners. So that's where I'd like to see the money go, is more of a participatory budgeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Wu.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. I have a little bit different angle for this SBA program. Well, first of all, I would like to verify one thing. The second round applicants, they actually qualify for that fund because they did not get the fund for the first round. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that means this is the third round, so that means in the first two rounds, whoever got the grants, they are not able to apply again for this. I know Caroline and Aldo from our economic development, they have been approaching those business owners who will be evicted by the Focus Plaza. And I believe the funds, if we are able to retain some of the business to relocate to another location, then we can just use the fund to help them out. I definitely agree that the 2,500 may not be really sufficient to solve the problem if they are really in crisis in their business, or because the economy is predictable like a recession. But for those businesses would like to stay in our city, especially in the case that the Focus Plaza, during their renovation, they are asking the tenants to leave the plaza. We should really support them if we have sufficient funds and we are able to help them to stay in the city and keep contributing the tax money for us. So, so Caroline, do you have, or your department have any like a discussion or any proposal for the Focus Plaza tenants at this moment?
Well, as you mentioned, we have been doing outreach and we're in contact with those who are needing, we've offered our services to identify possible locations, but that's pretty much been the extent of our outreach is how we can help them relocate if they are not renewing their lease.
So how many tenants has been successfully retained or relocated? Do we have any?
I don't have the number at the top of my head, but I do have a list that I've contacted, Aldo and I.
So I would like to just, share that, my thought with my colleagues that maybe we should use the fund in different, group, because those are the group, they are facing a very critical moment. They've been asked to leave the plaza or increase their rent pretty soon, maybe by the end of the January. So I guess that we probably can have another a round of discussion for how we use the fund. Of course, 2,500 will be really great for the new round of the business owner. But meanwhile, I would like to show that our city is also supporting those business. They are under the water now because they are losing their business due to the lack of the lease, or they are going to term out from their tenancy in the Focus Plaza. Thank you.
Councilmember Chan.
Thank you, my colleagues. It's good discussion. I tend to be of the opinion that because of the way the economy is going right now, I would prefer to be a little more conservative, judicious with our funds. And but yeah, Councilman Wu makes a good point about the predicament of the Focus Plaza. And I mean, I'd be open to possibly another round at a lower amount, but yeah, 2,500. I think it'd be doable. But yeah, that's where I am. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So yeah, for me, I definitely want to see the second, actually looks like second round, but it's the third round, the CDBG assistance for the small business, and we last year second one still you supply the applicant. It's not open for everybody because some business owner, I hear about it when I talk to them. They even first round they don't even. I canvassed it. I go to the almost 1,500 the business to they apply like 385, but still someone they don't know the first round, so they like to this round. We want to think more like proactive to let the business owners who we have this kind of fund if we approve, let them to have opportunity, a chance to apply, and that's the first one. Okay, if I still suggest that time we have the 4 language: English, Spanish, Chinese, and Vietnamese too. And for the 2,500 right now, it's because the inflation rate, everything looks like not really attractive for the business to apply to, because I know they say sometimes if not easy for the form, so not easy to access. They spend a lot of time, the manpower to fill out. So if we agree to have this 175,000, so my suggestion also need to increase a little bit, so see all the council member to agree. For example, like maybe we double that, it's 5,000. But another thing is I want to open mind to not just for the Focus Plaza. It's any business because we have the like almost 19 different development. So after them finished, we have to allow the new commercial space to use it. If any like small business if they want to relocate it inside our city, maybe we can think about it to give to them maybe extra fund to assist them to relocation. That's my suggestion too. So have two level. One is general, if it's still in the same location. Another one, if they really want to relocate it, specify it's in our city limit, right? So it's we want to keep that kind of business still with us, keep the job opportunity, right? And some also generate the sales tax too, right? So we like keep them to. We don't want like people they. At least recently as I hear that some business they relocated to our neighborhood city, the Monterey Park already. Okay, before they're in our San Gabriel. Okay, I think the most of them maybe next month will be, some is already grand opening, and some is next month will be grand opening over there. So how can we our city to like do the business friendly? But business friendly actually it's a benefit for our resident too. If we keep them here, some like old history, the restaurant, or people like it, it's easy to access, right? Okay, so I hope the resident can understand it. We want to make a decision. It's not just favor the business. We also favor to our resident to keep our community. It's people like our city to they want to coming too. You know, so previous we talking about the paving for our playground. Even the last 2 years, I hear a lot of the residents are happy we did a good decision previous the council member, right? And then for the small business, I think they like the first too long. I got a good feedback from even the 2,500 is for the pop mom the restaurant the business. They really appreciate our city give it to them assistance. But right now, because the inflation rate, I think maybe we can open mind to get more opportunity give it to the small business. Yeah, that's my comments. So.
Would you like to summarize, City Manager, what you heard? Because I heard a lot of different things.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. So we're not taking a formal action tonight, but I do need direction on what to bring back in a future resolution and program guidelines. And I've heard, I think 3 of you say that you're wanting to do a similar grant program at $2,500. I've heard the mayor say that he would be interested in doubling the individual grant amount to $5,000, but keeping the same $175,000 total amount. And the mayor has suggested that there might be a second program for those businesses who are relocating within the city. And finally, Vice Mayor Harrington has mentioned that he would like to use that same dollar amount or some dollar amount and have a participatory budgeting process. So with that, I don't think we have clear direction. I've heard 3 that I think want to do $175,000 for $2,500 a piece, but I do need either a thumbs up or a vote or a motion that that's what you're wanting to see.
But also, Focus Plaza being a component, I heard 3, and I agree with the 3, including Focus Plaza, but I'm not sure what the numbers would look like. If we cap it at 175, how do we carve out the amount for Focus Plaza? Or are we saying cap 175 for the grant? And I'm looking at my colleagues to let me know. We cap it at 175 for the small business grants, and then we determine, you know, what additional amounts would be needed to focus on Focus Plaza? Is that what we're saying, or is it part of the 175,000? I wasn't sure.
Well, the last update I got was we still have like close to 60 business owners in the shop, in the Focus Plaza. But so far, I don't know if, because I know plenty of the tenants has already moved out or relocated to another city. So maybe I can check with Caroline how many tenants that you know in the Focus Plaza still in that place.
I can check back and report that to you.
Right, because if we do know how many tenants still live in that shopping center, then we probably would just get a better picture that what is the grant amount we should prepare for that particular case. So I would say maybe we can have another round of discussion for the fund. And not only about 175,000, I believe that may not be enough but I will assume this is a good investment for a city because we encourage them to stay in our city. So, you know, a couple $1,000 that they are willing to, you know, stay where they are and they are still be our taxpayer. It should be some win-win situations while we are, you know, distributing the funds to support them and they support us. So that's my 2 cents.
May I ask, maybe Aldo might know, because I know he's been canvassing the Focus Plaza personally. I mean, how many tenants are really left? Because my understanding is a lot of them were leaving in February, so it might be a little too late now. But I mean, what is our universe here for Focus Plaza?
Well, the universe, as far as the number of businesses in total, whether they're there or not, is about 80 or so. That's what we started with. 60 businesses around that remain in the plaza. We've reached out to about 27 of the businesses, and we were in contact with those 26, 27 businesses to help them find locations. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, I had sent over an email to one of the tenants who was being relocated, a location for them to consider, and they're looking at that very seriously. So those are the efforts that Caroline and I have been going through. But as far as the number of businesses that are physically at the site, we have to get back to the council and give you that number at another meeting.
So then are we saying to bring back the discussion later once we have that information, or do we want to make a decision tonight about the small business loans for everybody but Focus Plaza? I'm just asking my colleagues. I was just trying to.
So maybe I think, first of all, I think that the staff want a direction. First of all, everybody agree have this amount, $175,000. No.
Well, that's the issue I was asking, because I'm going to just throw numbers out. 150,000 of small business loans, 25,000 for Focus Plaza, but we need to get more information. Maybe that number would be lower, maybe higher. I'm just throwing that out, because I like to move forward in some capacity for our other small businesses, the ones that are here, that I feel are still struggling. Maybe COVID is and it's not behind us. I mean, people are still wearing masks. There is still a lot of struggles out there for our businesses. So I believe there's still a need, but I'd like to see if we can at least decide on the amounts for all the other businesses and then come back and discuss Focus Plaza.
Yeah, the question, it's, I think they want a direction. If we don't agree, most don't agree that it's a small business assistant, so it's a different story.
Well, there's 3 of us or 4 of us, I think, that agreed to have it. It's just the amount. What's the dollar amount?
So I think if you want a more efficiency, maybe today have some, just have the ballpark, right? Or lower or higher, right? So otherwise we take so long to discuss that. Today I think we still have enough time to do that.
So do I hear 3 council people at least that want to have a small business assistance program? And I think I do.
Let me ask something. Okay, so in light of the discussion about the Focus Plaza, and we only have another 20 units or so that are still there? Is that what we're saying, or approximately?
No, we're saying that we've been reaching out or having discussions with
okay.
about 27 of them.
Okay, but a lot of them are, some have to move out, I guess. And then are we saying that we're going to carve out, from this whole program, we're going to carve out a certain number of grants we're going to give to Focus Plaza, or is there?
Well, that's what I'm asking you, or my colleagues. We can keep it at 175, or we can carve it out and say, let's say 150, and then reserve tentatively 25,000 for Focus Plaza until we can get more information. We just have to determine the amount, because I think there is interest on small business, having this program, but what's the amount? Because that's what staff needs. They need an amount. Is that correct?
I think if there is a willingness or a desire to do the program, we can bring back an item with a placeholder of the $175,000 and the $2,500. You'll have a resolution and program guidelines before you that night, and if you want to swap out numbers, you are free to do that at that time. And then we can also work with the Focus Plaza owners and tenants to find out how many are remaining. I might suggest, as was suggested, maybe it's open to any tenant in the city that's moving from one location to the other, only so that we're not providing it just to those Focus Plaza tenants, and we're opening it up to the universe. And I'll work with the city attorney's office to make sure that part of it would be justifiable and that we can make a finding of public benefit on that. I know we can on the small business grants, but I'll work with the attorney's office on that side of it. And then we can bring that information back and finish it up at our next meeting.
Okay, so
The more, sorry.
that's,
Oh.
okay, go ahead.
No, just the more I'm thinking about this, I kind of do like the idea of the budget crowdsourcing, but, in terms of, I'm struggling with if we give a certain amount to a small number of businesses, I don't know how many that will really help. I'm trying to do the math in my head, as in terms of if it would be better for the businesses of our city to go with this program, or the idea of budget sourcing, crowdsourcing, and because of course now that we're not in ARPA funds, it's all coming out of general fund money now. So I'm just kind of reevaluating how I would envision spending this money, and from my first comment about how, as we all said, the economy's getting a little rough, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to spend our city money. So, so I'm struggling a little bit. That's kind of where I am. I'll listen to more comments from my colleagues.
Thank you. So that's why I suggest not just for the Focus Plaza. Maybe, I think the city attorney maybe have another consideration. If we consider for the Focus Plaza, we should be open for all business owner if they relocate to our city limit. Is that correct?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. I think that the more wider application of that public benefit, the more supportable and defensible the program would be. You may consider looking at situations that are similar to Focus Plaza. In other words, if a business owner is forced to relocate as a result of a lease increase or reconstruction throughout the city, versus just saying anybody who's moving would be eligible. So that could be a criteria that would work and potentially be supportable, because we want to keep these business owners in the city. And the move is not initiated by them, the move is initiated by circumstances.
Thank you.
So, I'm sorry, one more time. City manager, so we don't need a vote, you just need 3 of us to say, move forward with your recommendation, what you just mentioned, which is you'll bring it back, $175,000, and then you'll have more information about this other program that includes Focus Plaza, but includes a wider range. Is that what you need from us right now?
That's exactly right. And we can have the further discussion that night and change the amounts if need be, and vote at that time formally on whether we approve the project or not.
Okay, well, I'll say that's the program I'd like to see brought back.
Councilmember Wu?
Yes, well, initially, I think my purpose is either or, because I know that city money is limited. We have to use the money in the right place and the place where needed the most. So that's my purpose, that thinking that small business assistance program that we have done twice already, and since we have, combined with like more than 100 business owners, they have already gotten the funds. So that's why I was thinking about this 175,000 can be converted for that special circumstance that the Focus Plaza tenants is suffering right now. But I understand that Mayor Ding is considering that still doing the third run. And I do understand our city attorney that mentioned about that it's better to do the universe instead of only focus on one Focus Plaza, because other shopping center may also have the same situation. But we cannot just keep open the door that for every single shopping center when they have tenants, if forced to move or forced to relocate, then we just give them a special fund for that particular reason. So I would just move that we can just do it universal, but I would like to have our economic development to promote the funds and just make sure that every business owners, including the tenants in Focus Plaza, they are aware of we are having a funds to support them, and we will just expedite if they are able to relocate another location in city of St. Gabriel, and for those tenants improvement, and even that we are not able to support them with financially support, but we are able to expedite and just make sure the whole process for them to open the business will be shorter than the regular time. So I think that will be something we can compromise with.
Thank you. So yeah, I think our 5 council members, it's really want to watch the city money for the tax dollars money. No matter the host the idea, it's even disagree, agree, still want to use the tax dollar money to the right place, right? So I respect all the council member the idea too, and so for the moving forward, maybe just let us staff and one thing I want to consider. So if go for the third round, so the applicant, you don't know if they more than, for example, still use the 2,500, it's more than 70% coming, so we still use a lottery drawing, right? So we cannot guarantee everybody if they apply to they can get an assistance. So same thing, I consideration if we use this lottery drawing, the Focus Plaza, if they're tenant, they want to relocate it to in our city, they also go through the lottery drawing too, right? So if they are lucky, they got it. If they're unlucky, they don't have a chance. Still don't have a chance too. Is that correct?
Well, we can develop that application process. In the past, it was first come, first serve, and we capped it at 70, and the applications were date and time stamped. So that would be our recommendation this time as well.
So first time is first serve, not like a previous, like a lottery drawing, right?
If the number of applicants, or if the number of applicants exceeds how much we have, then we can consider a lottery system.
Okay, thank you. Did you have the direction or?
I do. I hear 3. I believe that the small business program will bring that back for consideration and then finalize the discussion that night.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
So, next item, please.
Public comment. Is there anyone wishing to address council?
And the city manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Just a quick Happy New Year to everyone. And then also just for the council and the community, I know everybody's anxious to know what's happening with the police chief recruitment now that the city of Pasadena has stolen one of our finest. I think I've let the community know, but just want to reiterate that Captain Nakamura is going to be our acting police chief for at least the next couple months. I know that he's more than up to the task, and the executive team is ready to help him in any way that they can, but I don't expect he'll need too much help. We will be doing a recruitment. That recruitment will start in the March timeframe, and that will be open to internal applicants as well as external applicants. So we hope to attract the best that is out there to continue the good work that Chief Harris has started and take that even a step further. So we would hope to have somebody on board by June and hitting the ground running at that point. And if things change or as things progress, I will make sure to let the council and the community know. But we'll be looking for somebody with that community-oriented policing and that kind of care for homeless, mental health, all of those issues that are near and dear to our community to be able to continue the programming that has been started.
Thank you, Mark.
Mayor, can we have our interim chief come up and introduce himself so the public can see him?
Absolutely. If it embarrasses them
And
in
hear
the
from him.
process, that's great as well.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the City Council. My name is Ricky Nakamura. I am the interim police chief for the City of San Gabriel. And I've been at the police department for 15 years. Some of you have may known I came from the City of San Marino. I was serving there for the last 3 years back in my early days. I'm going to be in an interim role, as the city manager has said, up to about June or July. But I'm going to do my best. I'm going to make it up my effort if I'm lacking in talent. So I'm going to give the city 100% as I've been doing for the last 15 years. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. So, what do we call, right now they call chief, right?
That's right.
Okay, chief. Okay. And the council comment and the conference meeting report.
I'll start.
Okay. Councilmember Menchenko.
Okay. First of all, I just wanted to remind everyone again, with the San Gabriel Educational Foundation, their literacy and art program. Hope all the council could participate. They started this program when I was mayor during COVID, and if you get a chance to see those banners and the talent that is within our city, it's pretty amazing work, and I'm just so pleased that we as a city have taken on that level of partnership, of participation, and just to highlight, our youth. So it's a great program, so keep an eye on those banners, and my colleagues, please consider a donation. Aside for Councilmember Wu, he's already donated. Okay. Next is Ogo Pogo, and I'm going to read it. They just got, let's see, here it is. Wanted to congratulations to Ogo Pogo Brewery. That's on Commercial. It's our first and only brewery here in the San Gabriel for being highlighted as one of the best local breweries of the emerging craft beer scene in the greater East Side Los Angeles region. It was in the LA Times, and they talked about the proliferation of breweries, and they mentioned San Gabriel, Montebello, and Whittier, that are giving people other options besides just going to downtown. And so it's kind of exciting to see, you know, that they have made a mark. They're on that map of the LA Times, so if you get a chance, please read it. And then Lunar New Year is coming up on February 4th, and it is, we're welcoming the Year of the Rabbit. And if you don't know if you're a rabbit or not, I looked up some of the dates. It's 1987, 1975, 1963, 1951. I just picked those 4 dates, so there's a lot more dates out there, but those are the 4. But I am proud that I am the Year of the Ox, so is the mayor. And 2023 is supposed to be a lucky year for us, Mayor. So this is our year for the ox. And that was all. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Councilmember Wu.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. That Mayor Dean and I, we both are been invited to the inaugurations of Asian Organizations Alliance and also the Chinese Enterprise Chamber of Commerce, their installation. Then we went to Supervisor Hilda Solis conference hall, and for that event, and we presented the certificate to the founder and also the president, Katie Leung. So that is an organization will be helping the API communities to voice and to united all the different organizations together, and not only for their prosperity on business, but also they also have a go to anti-Asian hate program. So that will be some kind of organization that will be really close to us and to our community. So I'm very delighted that we went there together. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Wu. Councilmember Chen.
Yeah. Hi. I have nothing to report so far, but looking forward to being involved in more events. Happy New Year, and thank you.
Okay. So yeah, it's actually beginning of the year, January 1st, and me and the Councilmember Wu, we went to the CCBA Chinatown, the large Chinese organization, to see their.
Sorry, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
I attended that one also.
Yeah. Councilmember Chen too.
One of my first events.
Yeah. Okay.
And thank you for hosting me.
All right. We go to the we start the morning, and the dinner time. We 3 of us. It's there too. They have the long history, like almost 150 years. The organization. So yeah, it's really like have the community involvement. So yeah, and also a lot of the member it's living our city of San Gabriel too. We glad to have a chance to listen their voice too. Okay, and I also echoed Councilmember Wu with the new established called Asia Organization Alliance. The name, okay, they not just the Chinese Americans, they have the Japanese, Vietnamese, Pakistan, Mongolia, and Indonesia. It's a lot of it's Asia country, but yes, for me, I know it's if Asia people, it's a lot of different. Filipino too, okay. It's a lot of different languages. It's really need like if we unite together, have to allow the communication, okay, with each other. So understand each culture, and first culture right now it's Lunar New Year. And even last week, last 2 weeks, I attended a lot of the Chinese community organization celebration, Lunar New Year Festival. And they also invite a lot of different group people to attend it, to hopefully we can understand each other, show our Asia love too. We don't want to hate, right? And for the future, I just use this opportunity. February 4th, that's our city hosts Lunar New Year. Okay, don't forget. I encourage everybody to attend it. One of my task is become the tour guide to let the attending to visit our historical city hall not open, but outside the city hall can show them, and our mission playhouse, and even our it's a Haste family, right? Yeah. So here it's like maybe if we want to quickly walk like a half hour. If we want to enjoy a lot, maybe need like 1 hour to walk. But it's a good opportunity and see the Asia culture, Chinese culture for this event. But also can learning specify for our historical city, San Gabriel. We are founding place for the LA, right? So I'm really proud of it, and also let a lot of, especially for our city of San Gabriel community, to more knowledge on our history, and can exchange the cultural, show our New Year, the love together. So wish everybody the Happy New Year, and we just after the regular New Year, but also coming soon. It's actually this Sunday, January 22nd. It's New Year Day, and this Saturday it's New Year Eve. Okay, usually so New Year Eve we Chinese. It's a family get together to have the dinner together, and the second day to go out to visit. I just say there's some cultural age, to visit elder people, to respect the elder people to the New Year Day. So that's the Chinese New Year, the culture. Okay, I wish everybody the Happy New Year, 新年快乐，新年快乐，新年快乐. Okay, I use the 3 languages. Okay, it's Mandarin, Cantonese, and Shanghainese to say the Happy New Year. Okay, thank you all. And then next one, and the closing section, none. And the next meeting, next City Council meeting will be held on the Tuesday, February 7, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Meeting adjourned at 7:46 p.m. Happy New Year.